This is Just Tool Basics, and today we're talking about tape measures. Hello everyone, welcome to Just Tool Basics. Today's topic is tape measures. Now we're mostly going to be talking about these box-style auto-retracting tape measures, which are kind of the standard format, though there are certainly others. I have a few other examples here that I'll talk about a bit. But let's just talk about the basic purpose of tape measures. So tape measures are designed to house a long measuring device, in this case a 30-foot. It can be 25, 16, 100. I don't know how long that one is. But the idea is a long measuring device housed in a convenient format that you can temporarily extend, measure what you need to measure, and then put it away so that it's convenient for carrying around or storing or whatever it is that you're going to do next. They generally have a pretty standard set of features. I mentioned the case or housing, the tape, sometimes called a blade, the hook, typically has this nail slot in it, which is designed for hooking over a nail or screw head. Most of these days come with a belt hook and with a thumb lock. The idea here is that you can extend it to whatever length is convenient for what you're measuring and hold it in place, though you can still find them without this feature. Some have other features as well. For example, these fast caps come with a pencil sharpener in the back of it. They come with a writing surface instead of an oversized label, allowing you to take notes as you're taking your measurements. They have a temporary blade lock, so you can just squeeze that with your finger, holding it in position, and then when you let go, it snaps back into place. Most also indicate the width of the housing. That way, when you're measuring something to an inside dimension, you can just back it up against what you're measuring and then add that width, as opposed to trying to bend the tape and measure into a corner. This can be a little bit more convenient just using the housing itself. Some also have other interesting features. For example, this guy is printed on both the front and the back, or top and bottom, I should say, which can be very convenient if you're measuring something in an awkward position. This one is designed pretty specifically for woodworking, though it certainly is useful elsewhere. But the bottom side of the tape is a writable material. Actually, the whole tape is a writable material. You can mark on it with a pencil pretty easily. But the bottom is blank so that you can just mark a position without concern for what the measurement actually is. So if we're measuring this tape measure and I want to cut a piece of wood, for example, that's exactly the size, I don't really care what its measurement is. I just want to know that I'm consistently able to repeat that measurement elsewhere. So that certainly is a convenient feature when you're less concerned with the actual measurement and more concerned with repeatability, which in woodworking is often the case. Let's talk a little bit about the hook itself. So the hook is loose, and occasionally you'll encounter somebody who is upset by this and criticizes the product for being poorly made. Now, that is a mistake. The hook is loose on purpose because the hook shifts exactly the width of itself, the width of this outer piece. That way, when it's hooked over something, the measurement is correct from this face, and when it's pressed in to what you're measuring, it's correct from the outside face. If it didn't shift, if you hammered these tight such that they were frozen in position, either it would be accurate only in one of those two situations, or if you manage to hammer the rivet so that it's held in between those two positions, it's never right. So don't do that. The rivets are there for a reason. Now, some are extra reinforced. This one has dual rivets for the hook itself, and then a backing plate to reduce the likelihood of the hook ripping off the tape for example, when you let it snap back like that, it does put a lot of pressure on the hook. Not all tapes are made that way. I don't think. No, this one has a backing plate as well. Also double rivet with the extra rivet for the backing plate. This one triple rivet, but just to the tape. There's no backing plate. As you can see, I've roughly used this tape measure over time. This is one I use more for framing and other rougher, less finesse, like the woodworking options that I have. The tapes and their measurements, most are marked. The indicators are 1/16 of an inch. You'll find some that are other than that. I've seen some where the first 12 inches are in 32nds of an inch and have very, very fine markings and then revert to 1/16 of an inch. I've certainly seen many that only do 1/8 of an inch. I want to say these tapes are, that only goes to 1/8 of an inch at its finest, which probably all you need at the lengths that this thing is measuring. These actually indicate on the tape what fraction you're talking about and reduce the fraction. So the little red markings are how many 1/16 of an inch, and then the black markings that stand up are the reduced fractions. This one also obviously is marked explicitly on the top and bottom so that you're always looking at it right side up, no matter which orientation you're looking at, though not marked on the back like the red guy is. This one, similarly marked on the one side, but as I mentioned, the other side is the story stick style, which is the marked as needed style. But most that you encounter are just the basic markings, and you'll need to know what the markings are. Often they're indicated. This one doesn't even say anything about it. It just has like its patents, where it's made, blah, blah, blah. There are some other features that I don't have on my tapes. Some have this like reinforced heavy stuff for the first 6 or 12 inches to reduce wear, because this is obviously where it gets scraped a lot against what you're measuring. I can't think of anything else. Now, these are flat tapes. They do not auto-retract when you let go. There's no thumb lock because there's just no pressure on them that would cause them to retract, so you don't really need a thumb lock. If you really need to hold it in position and put tension on it, you can either hold the little winder handle so that you can pull on it, or really just squeeze the end. These do not have a shifting hook. They're designed always to be measured from pulling, because you can't really push a flat tape because it's floppy into a corner. You're always pulling against the hook. As you can see, the tape is thinner. That saves weight. All of these tapes, except this red guy down here, all of these are made out of steel. These are spring steel, allowing them to reform, even though they're arced, to make themselves stiff on extension. But then they curl up on the reel inside, and that spring steel allows that to happen. These are not spring steel. As you can see, like little kinks get in here. And it's, I don't know, I think it's just nylon coated boring steel. Maybe it's spring steel, but if so, it's very weak. Again, narrower to save weight. This is already significantly heavier than one of these because the tape is so much wider on the spool. And these are really designed for more gross measurements, measuring the length of a foundation or a wall or something like that, whereas these can be used for more precise things. Not that you can't use these for rough, precise, as long as you're within 1/8 of an inch is what's important, whereas these go to, like I said, 1/16 of an inch or more. When you want to retract it, you have to manually wind it and then fold the hook down because it's spiky, because you can actually tap it into wood to hang on if you need to, though I don't know that I would do that. It would probably wear it out pretty quickly. This guy is similar. This is an old Lufkin reel, so much older, much heavier, but quite sturdy. Very, very thin blade tape, as you can see. Again, only goes to 1/8 of an inch measure. Actually, no, this one is 1/10 of an inch. How interesting. Yeah, 1/10 of an inch. So, oh my goodness, and it's not even in inches. It's in 1/10 of a foot. How weird is that? Obviously, I don't use this one very often, but yeah, the numbers only count up from 1 to 9 and then go to 1 foot. So yeah, that's very, very strange. Okay, well, what a fascinating tape measure. This one does have a bit of a thumb lock in that you can push your thumb against the tape if it's not unwound too far, but really that's for storing the handle, just so it has some place to go. Yeah, what a weird tape this is. I'm not even sure what these things do. If you know, perhaps leave it in the comments what I'm missing on this little piece of spring steel and what looks like a tiny bottle opener. Yeah, I have no idea. And then this is a strap to hold it, I'm guessing. Or attach it to your bag. I'm not sure. Anyway, weird tape measure. This one is auto-retracting and has a small spring spool in there. It has normal inches on one side and millimeters and centimeters and decimeters on the other side. This is designed more for things like fashion design type stuff, measuring your head size for a hat or measuring your arms for sleeves. The nylon has a few benefits here. It's much lighter, more comfortable to place against your skin, for example, less likely to transfer any sort of greasy markings or whatever, much easier to clean. And you can also wrap it into a much tighter radius, wrap it tightly around your finger. If you did that with one of these, you could kink that tape and then it would be, I want to say ruined, but its usability would be somewhat diminished. This tape you can see is very warbly, so I would not use this for very precise measurements because I just don't trust that it's accurate beyond, 1/8 of an inch for sure. Measuring a wall or measuring drywall or something like that. Plenty good, which is what I use it for. And I think I mentioned the flat blade, the arced blade that allows the tape to extend. These can actually extend pretty far. I mean, I don't have any problem extending this to, 4 feet or so, and it can certainly go farther. I imagine 6 feet would probably be the upper limit of that. But the Stanley Fat Max, which I don't have one here, I know can extend to like 8 feet or something crazy. It's designed for reaching out to measure things and point at things, is often what it's used for, which is a definite advantage to this arced style blade that you definitely don't get with the flat blade. All right, I think that's all for tape measures. Until next time, this is Just Tool Basics.